What is up, y'all? We are live on YouTube and Facebook, and we are live on Instagram, a rammer, and we got Rigel in the building. Did you just wake up?
No.
No, he's been awake all day. How's everybody doing? First live in a while, so let's chit chat a little bit. We'll wait for people to jump on here, but let's talk about Keto Con a little bit. What was your impression of Keto Con?
I thought it was great. I love Keto Con every single year. Yeah, it was good. We had our booth. So we had the keto bricks, and we also were screen printing the apparel while we were there as well. I think that it was a little bit smaller of a turnout than all of us were anticipating, but it's hard to know what that was from, if it was just because COVID, like flights are so expensive right now, and gas is super expensive right now. So I think that prevented some people from being able to show up. So it was really good though. Robert did a great job speaking. And yeah.
But the vibe was good. Despite the fewer people, the vibe was good. The energy was good. Everybody was upbeat. Great information. It's been so long since we've been to a conference. I guess we went to Keto Summit Omaha last year in August. That was the last one we went to prior to this, right?
Yeah.
We went to like a little meetup, carnivore meetup. But it's nice to be back in the conference scene because especially with keto, like so much of it is community based. Like that's where the knowledge comes from. That's where like the camaraderie comes from. It's where the sense of belonging comes from. And to not have that for so long, was pretty disheartening. I feel like a lot of people started jumping ship in the whole keto lifestyle because they didn't have that, community aspect. So I think getting back into the conference scene was super beneficial for me. I mean, like I feel lucky because I have so much of a community within, the different social profiles and like all of that. But for people that don't have that and they're leaning on the community that's already out there, for them to not have anything, I can't imagine how tough that must have been. So good that we're back in the conference scene for sure.
I jumped in by accident. First 3.
Yo, yo, yo.
Your brother just logged in, and bam, you are there. Sweet.
Michael says, "Where is next year's Keto Con?" I think I don't know that I heard grumblings of it not being at the same convention center. So it may not be in Austin next year. I don't know.
Yeah.
You didn't hear that from me because I don't know one way or the other.
It's always been at the
Palmer Event Center.
Palmer Event Center in Austin, Texas, but we have no idea where it's going to be next year. So
yeah,
we'll just have to kind of wait and see.
He was bad that his butt's on that hard surface, or is he just rocking it up?
It's fine.
All right, working on it sitting. Christy says, "Hey, baby Rigel, Owen, Robert, and Crystal, he's the cutest baby." I concur. He is pretty cute. He's drooling pretty hardcore right now.
Is this a Q&A? Yes, you can ask any questions that you have for us. We usually pick a topic. So we'll pick a topic, we'll talk about that, and then you can ask any questions. We'll answer it along the way.
Yeah, throw us your questions because we need some questions. Mom, hey, Savages, what's up? Hello, how are you? She's doing a prep.
To go says, loved it. So nice meeting you guys and the Keto Brick Keto Savage team.
Yeah, we brought our whole team there, which was pretty awesome.
It was great to see you guys and the little guy. Yeah, Rigel went, and it was he did really well. I'm really proud of how well he did.
Sykes family, I should say. We are a little family. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Robert. And hi, Rigel. Says Iris. What's up, Iris?
I don't have audio.
Is
everyone else having audio? Greg says, hey, yo.
What's up, Greg?
Y'all had a baby. Wow. Shame on me. I guess it's obvious it's been way too long since I've tuned in. Yeah.
Yep.
We had a baby.
Little
there he is.
Mexican butt right here. Drooling on my finger right now.
Yeah, he is the like drool fest right now.
Hello, y'all. Y'all are too cute. We do have Rigel in the video, obviously, but this is not just a ploy to get a bunch of cute comments. We appreciate the cute comments, but y'all are more than welcome to submit questions, and we will give you honest answers.
They got their audio back.
Okay, cool. What's up, Joe? How you doing, brother? He says howdy.
Hey, from Maine.
By the way, Joe, we just got our our jujitsu mats are getting delivered tomorrow. So tomorrow, going forward, we're going to have jujitsu mats. So if you want to come to the compound and teach us some groundwork and grappling, man, we're all for it.
What's the best way to battle fatigue? I would figure out the root cause of why you're feeling fatigued. I was having some fatigue and I had a lot of adrenal issues, cortisol, all that kind of stuff. So figuring out the root cause of why you're fatigued, that would be really helpful. But in the meantime, I would say stop drinking caffeine if you drink caffeine. Just stop drinking it. Make sure that you're eating plenty of food, plenty of calories, plenty of your energy source, whatever that may be, and getting plenty of rest, all of those things, maybe doing some stretching or some breathing after your workout, all of that kind of stuff. So, but definitely find the root cause of why you're feeling fatigued in the first place, and then all of those other things as well. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's the main thing, like figuring out the root cause for sure, and then making sure you're consuming enough energy. A lot of people are battling with fatigue because they're not hydrated, not getting enough sleep, not getting enough electrolytes, or simply not getting enough food. So if you can control for those factors and then look into your environmental factors, like what your stress load is like, things of that nature, that's going to be the major talking points there.
Yeah. He is a cutie. Congrats. Thank you.
Christy says, I know you were a speaker at Keto Con, but curious as to what your favorite takeaway was this year if you had time to listen to other speakers. I listened to a handful of speakers, not a whole lot, to be honest. I'm pretty bad. Like when I'm at the conferences, I'm networking more so than anything, so I don't really get to listen to a bunch of speakers. I did listen to Bill Schindler in his presentation, and he also did a demo for us. But Bill Schindler's amazing, y'all. Y'all should all be following him. He's an anthropologist, an archaeologist. He's all about our evolutionary past, how we've evolved to eat the way we do and use tools, stone tools to do so. And that's always been a big interest of mine. My first passion was like Native American history and their use of like primitive tools and whatnot. So definitely follow Bill Schindler. I think his Instagram is Eat Like a Human or How to Eat Like a Human or Stone Age Human or something like that. But if you Google Bill Schindler, you'll find him. Hello from Michigan. Going to turn my macadamia brick into pucks. Can't wait. I hope you love them. Love Rigel's ginger hair. Yeah, it's got a little red in his hair. It's definitely a little tint of red there. My daughter-in-law is pregnant and having Charlie's horses at night. Should she up her magnesium?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I'm not a doctor, but that's what I did. I upped my magnesium, but I also use it's magnesium biglycinate is the one that I used. I used Ali Miller's Relax and Regulate, and it was very helpful. It sometimes won't help depending on the type of magnesium that you're using, how well it is absorbed by the body, all of that kind of stuff. So yes, increasing magnesium is going to help. Drinking plenty of water, all of that kind of stuff will definitely help. That's what helped me at least. Do you recommend cutting out dairy for PCOS? Again, we aren't doctors, but if dairy is not an issue for you, then there's no reason to really cut it out. You can cut it out and see if you feel different, but I would remove it for a few weeks if you're going to remove it, and then slowly bring things back in and just see how you feel.
Tips on how to get more sleep. I don't stay asleep throughout the night. So my sleep tends to suffer a little bit when I start dropping calories because I just feel more wired. I don't really know what your calories are at right now. I know you're in a cut. But I would be conscious of that. Now, that said, when I'm in a cut and not getting as much sleep, because I'm so wired, I wake up with energy. So like I would be curious to know if you're waking up tired or if you're waking up feeling pretty rejuvenated. And more so than like the quantity of sleep, I'd focus on the quality of sleep. So doing some simple things like turning the thermostat down at night, mouth taping is a really big thing that I've been doing for quite some time. And then doing like blackout curtains, all of that good stuff to really optimize the sleep. Jake says, OMG, look at the adorable little man. We're going to start putting Rigel on the payroll here.
I know.
Congrats, you guys. Thank you so much. All right, you got a question over there?
Yes, I have audio. I hopped on to say hey between meetings. Loud and clear. I want to try carnivore. Have no idea. Start when I tried it before. I hardly ate anything. Is that normal?
You should definitely still be eating on carnivore. Like
Yeah.
carnivore is not equivalent to fasting.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, if it's causing you to not eat very much, then I would say maybe it's not working for you. Or maybe just try different things, like maybe try to do like eggs and cheese in the morning with bacon. And then for lunch, like make sure that you have a plan set out before you, before your day, and see if you can follow through with what the meals you have prepared. I think that could be really helpful. But you definitely want to be able to get in food. I know that some people do feel very satisfied, but that doesn't mean you should not eat.
All right. So she's got a few thread here, but I'm getting on the questions. Just started phase 2, currently 1835 on the calories. Wake up sometimes alert, others 2 times tired. So with you starting phase 2, you're going to be increasing protein. It's going to give you some more volume. I wouldn't recommend eating a whole bunch of protein without much fat right before going to bed. But if you have a pretty good portion of fat and protein prior to bed, you may actually find that you sleep a little bit better. It's weird. Some like the general consensus is don't eat before bed, and I get that, and I understand that. But when you're in a pretty significant caloric deficit, like you are in a cut, I actually find that I sleep better if I eat a pretty good meal of both fat and protein prior to going to bed, because that kind of helps put my body in more of a parasympathetic state because I am in a deficit. So you could try pushing back your meal just a little bit later.
Is raw honey and fruit okay on carnivore? Number one, Robert and I, neither one of us are full carnivore, so we're not really on that train.
I'm pretty close though.
He's pretty close, but we're not really on that train, so we're not really like big on that. However, in my opinion, honey and fruit are not from animals. So
Honey's
I would
technically
say,
from animals, but
is it an animal or is it an insect?
I mean, insect is an animal.
Is it? No?
It's bee vomit is what it is. I don't typically eat much vomit.
So in my opinion, I would say no. And I think the whole point of saying carnivore or keto is to watch how much sugar you're having, and honey is just pure sugar.
Pure fructose at that.
Yeah, fructose. Yeah. So I would personally say no, it's not technically carnivore, but if it's something that helps you stay healthy and stay eating whole foods and you want some honey or some fruit, I'm going to say that it's okay for yourself. But if you're like trying to follow like strictly to see how you really feel on carnivore, I would say start with no honey or fruit. But if it's something that's going to help you stay on track and eat healthy and not go crazy and binge and do all these other things, then there's probably nothing wrong with having a teaspoon of honey or a couple of berries.
Theo Yates says, saw a video with Paul Saladino on bacon that we should eat because it's high in omega-6. They eat corn, or probably shouldn't eat because it's high in omega-6 because they eat corn and soy. And if we eat it, we store fat like pigs and can't lose the fat because of corn and soy. What's your opinion?
Store fat like pigs.
So
it depends on where you're getting your meat from.
Yeah. So Paul Saladino is really much so on the tangent of if you have too much linoleic acid, then you're going to just like he's basically saying that's like the primary driver for obesity. And I definitely think we should limit our linoleic acid and heavily processed polyunsaturated fats. But I'm not so much on board with the whole fear mongering around, the type of meat you get to the point where like people are just afraid to eat meat. Yes, you should prioritize good quality sourcing of your meat. Ideally, getting your pork from places that feed the pigs a proper diet. Pork and chickens are monogastric animals, unlike lamb, venison, and cows that are ruminants. So monogastric animals tend to basically ruminants, kind of high level here, ruminants are able to upregulate the nutrition of the stuff that they're eating. So like if they eat grass, they turn that into beef. Monogastric animals like pork and chicken, they also turn what they eat into the meat they're consuming, but those chemicals and whatnot tend to stick in their flesh a little bit easier. So if you're eating pork and chicken that consume a bad diet, you're more likely to be subjected to those bad nutrients more so than you would from a ruminant. But even a pig that's higher in polyunsaturated fats is going to be better than a hot pocket. So
Yeah.
don't go too far off the tangent deep end about worrying about everything.
Mm-hmm. Best way to begin a reverse diet. So start where you are. If you are, wherever your calories are, wherever your macros are, start there, and then slowly start to increase your macros and your calories. So what I would do is, if you aren't already tracking, start tracking for about a week and kind of see where your general protein, fat, carbs is, and then start to increase the protein and the fat. If you're staying keto, increase the protein and the fat little by little, a few grams every single week. Nothing crazy. You don't want to jump up like 300, 400, 500 calories. You want to do it very slowly, but just start increasing the protein and the fat. You can even do it equally every single week, and just start to slowly increase that until you get to a good stable place for yourself.
Rigel's raising his hand like he has a question.
He does that. He's really good at that.
He's like, when's my milk feeding time?
Yeah.
Working out after dinner, is that okay? I just need confirmation. Weight training versus cardio. You totally work out after dinner. No issues there. A lot of the timing aspect is honestly personal preference and when is best going to be with your schedule. Because if your schedule is more conducive to training after dinner and that's going to make it more sustainable for you, that's what you should be doing for sure.
Cardio and weightlifting, how-tos, why-tos, things. We've done a bunch of videos or lives on cardio versus resistant training. So if you go back on Robert's page or on the YouTube, you can find the title cardio versus resistance training, and we'll have talked about that a little bit more in depth. But with the gist of cardio versus weight training, do you want to take that one?
So when it comes to body recomposition, I always recommend prioritizing weight training. You're going to be able to burn more calories with weight training than you would cardio. You're also going to be able to build more lean muscle tissue with weight training than you would cardio. I use cardio because you do want to have good cardiovascular health. If you're in a set of squats and you can't get past rep 3 because your cardiovascular system is hindered, that's not going to bode well for your weight training. So they do kind of go hand in hand in that nature. But I recommend a minimum viable dose with steady state cardio when it comes to body recomposition. You don't want to be a cardio queen just spending hours on end on the treadmill. I would rather prioritize that time towards weight training.
Hello, do you help with figuring out macros? Yes, we both do. You can find all of his coaching options on ketosavage.com. You can find mine on ladysavage.com, and then he also has a macro calculator if you want to try to figure that out first.
It's just a
little worm, yeah.
Grass-fed versus non for fat loss. I wouldn't really I recommend grass-fed, grass-finished just as a default, but it's not really going to dictate your ability to lose fat. It is going to be leaner. So from a calorie standpoint, you're going to have fewer calories with grain or with grass-fed than you would grain-fed. But with cows in particular, there's been studies done. There's not really a drastic difference in amino acid, content or nutritional quality between grass-fed and grain-fed.
Hi from Portugal.
What's up, Portugal? Any recommendations on fitness watches like Fitbits, Whoop, Strap, etc.?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have it on right now because it's charging. You can see what my tan line is though. I like my Garmin watch. That's what I typically use.
I don't have one, so I have no suggestion. I don't like wearing watches.
You're such a weird
and
one.
I have the Oura Ring, but I don't really put in my workouts on that.
Yeah, I do have the Oura Ring as well.
Thoughts on rising A1C and blood glucose on diet less than 10 grams of carbs. A1C is 5.9, was 5.4. Blood glucose 105 to 130 was 90 to 105.
So that's a pretty high blood glucose on a strict ketogenic diet of less than 10 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
I'd be curious as to why that may be. I don't know if you're weight training or not. I don't know what your calories are. I don't know if you're in a caloric surplus. I don't know if you're consuming a massive bolus of protein, but I would imagine your inflammatory markers would be elevated if you're in a pretty extreme deficit. I would imagine that if you're in a significant surplus, your blood glucose is going to trend a bit higher. And if you're consuming like an obscene amount of protein relative to dietary fats, that's probably going to result in an elevated blood glucose as well. And if you're not weight training, that's going to, like, weight training is going to help make you more insulin sensitive. More muscle tissue is going to help make you more insulin sensitive. So if you're not doing that, you could implement that to help moderate those blood levels as well.
Also, stress is a huge factor with glucose as well. So you might take a look at what's going on with your stress and your sleep. If you're not sleeping really well, and if you're super stressed out or have a lot going on, take a look at those things comparably to what it was when you tested before, and just kind of like see what the change is there.
Thank you, because I usually have last meal around 5:30 and go to bed at 8 or 8:30. Yeah, I mean, try to eat before bed. Just see if you notice your sleep improving. You may not. You may be better off having the earlier meal, but I certainly recommend trying it to just gain that clarity.
Hello, beautiful people. Well, hello.
Mike echoes what you're saying. Stress makes a huge difference in baseline blood glucose, more than you know.
What did this?
Stress.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Stress is a huge thing on glucose. Have you tried magnesium threonate, SOP?
We have. I don't remember what brand we got that from, though. It's been a while. Yeah. Magnesium threonate.
I started hypertrophy. Is that what I'm trying to say? No. As keto. I feel hungrier than ever. I don't like vegetables. Should start to eat?
I don't know if that's hypertrophy. I don't know what hypertrophia is. Let us know if you mean hypertrophy.
Yeah. Should I start to eat? I mean, I would say if you're hungry, you should eat more for sure. But maybe I'm not fully understanding the question here. CBD before bed helped my sleep tremendously, even through a cut.
There you go. Yeah, some people have a tremendous effect from CBD. I don't really notice anything when I try CBD. I think that's largely what epigenetic or genetic SNPs you have, rather, because I think some people are more receptive to the changes that CBD can cause, and others are not so much. Hey guys, when bodybuilding on keto during the off season, do you guys recommend bulking or maintaining? My apologies if you already answered this in your building muscle series. I did not put near enough content in that building muscle series, but I'm going to in the future. So my apologies there if you've been looking for something in there and hadn't found it. But yeah, definitely recommend bulking, but you can have a clean bulk. Like you don't have to
lean bulk.
Yeah, you don't have to put on a whole bunch of extra body fat to have a productive building phase. But I definitely recommend being in a caloric surplus and not just a maintenance.
Keto Brick has been a great transition food from pureed to solid foods for the little guy. It's funny how many little babies and children are eating the bricks and doing so well with it. Like they love it. There even was a few of them at Keto Con and they were just scarfing them down. It is actually amazing to me, and I'm really excited to give it to him as soon as he starts eating solid foods.
We are going to offer a brick that acts as a transition between breastfeeding and whole foods. We're going to call it the booby brick. It's going to be good, y'all. Get ready.
Best way to get back on track if you've fallen off of keto. I am 55 and feel like it's due to hormones and depression. So best way to get back on track is just to get back on track. If you want to be keto and you find that that's going to be the best and the most healthy for you, then just jump back into it. You don't have to do any crazy fasting or anything like that. Just jump back into what you think works best for you. And you said that you think that it's due to hormones and depression. Figure out what is making you feel like you're falling off, And figure out why you feel the need to have those things. I used to have the need to have those things as well, and I found that just eliminating it and not allowing myself to have those things made me mentally and physically a better for myself.
This is a good question here. What are your thoughts on front loading with cardio in the beginning of the prep and scaling back closer to the end versus not adding much at the beginning and adding it more here second half of prep? So I recommend, and you know this because you've got the book, but I recommend not doing that simply because if you are aggressive with your calories and dropping calories throughout the prep, and then you're also front loading your cardio, you're not really going to have any room left to pull any other additional levers as you get closer to the show. Whereas if you are aggressive with the calories, but then not so much the cardio, you have that cardio lever to pull. If you go, out the gate guns blazing with both cardio and calories, then you're pretty much up a creek without a paddle in the latter half of a prep, because then there's nothing really else that you can add because you've already added all of your primary variables.
Bee vomit. Thank you guys.
That's the truth. We have bees. Like I'm a beekeeper, so that's exactly what it is.
Cardio and weightlifting needed, not needed. How to do both?
You can definitely do both, but I would always prioritize weightlifting over cardio.
And yes, they are needed. Everybody's body needs to be challenged in one way or the other. I would say, weight training is going to be my primary, and then cardio is going to be important for your cardiovascular system if you aren't getting in a intense enough weight training session.
What body fat would you recommend staying at during the off season for bodybuilding on keto?
Depends.
Depends on what sex you are.
Yeah, what sex you are and your age as well.
Well, I'm super sexy and I'm a male. That's what you were saying. And I'm about 15% right now. I think that's pretty good. I think for females, upper end would be 25%. You could probably get fined lower than that. There's not any reason to go beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Savages, congrats on the little cutie. Thinking of getting an in-body scale. Do you still like yours?
Yes, I do. I don't use it as my daily scale. I have the Withing scale as my daily scale. But I do like the in-body for sure.
Yeah.
10 total carbs or net carbs. Huge difference.
Yeah,
total
that's
carbs
true.
for the win. 100% total carbs. Hi, guys. Should I worry if my knees make a sound when I do deadlifts and squats? Not if you're not having any pain. Like my knees make a sound.
Yep, so do mine.
But I don't have a pain.
I had some issues with one of my knees for a little while, and I went to a doctor and a physical therapist, and both of them told me not to worry about the cracking in your knees unless it is painful. Like that was their big thing, because I told them that my other knee was cracking, and unless you're having pain, they told me not to worry about it. So that's what I've gone with, and I don't seem to have any issues. It makes your brain feel like there's something wrong and you should be changing it, but there really isn't anything wrong, is what they were telling me.
Having issues to continue to lose weight, the more I am going on lean muscle, the more I am gaining on lean muscle. Macro adjustment, still under 20 grams carbs, an average 80-20 fat protein. I feel like I am in and out of ketosis all the time. The more I am gaining on lean muscle. So if you're gaining lean muscle, that may result in a, not much of a net change on the scale weight. But if you're gaining lean muscle, that's always a good thing. I'm not really sure what your calories are. I always put, my clients through a prep, in which case I don't keep them at an 80% fat ratio. Like I'll start them at an 80% fat ratio, but I don't keep them there.
This is 80-20%. Oh, I see. Never mind. Yeah. Sorry.
So you might want to just reduce total intake. But if you're gaining muscle, that's obviously going to offset some of the scale weight loss.
Hey guys, too many concerns on what is right. We need a checklist on meat quality and how to eat them.
A checklist on meat quality.
I think that the most important thing is to get the best quality that you can as an individual, that you can with your finances and all that kind of stuff. If the best that you can afford is just a regular ground beef, then get the regular ground beef. If you can afford a grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef, then also, then gravitate towards that. But I'm sure there are some carnivores like Nutrition with Judy. She always has really great
We're
graphs.
about to have a meltdown, yeah.
Yeah. She always has some really great graphs on her Instagram, so you can go check that out. And she always is talking about meat and quality and all that kind of stuff. We might have to go here in just a second.
Hi, y'all from Eastern Tennessee. What's up? Booby break. That's amazing. You ever do a workout and have a hard time doing a workout the next day? Not really. I mean, since doing keto, like I don't get near sore.
We also change our muscle groups. So if our legs are sore, then our shoulders are fine. If our shoulders are sore, then our chest is fine. Things like that.
Hard not to do cardio, but yeah, 100%. Have a plan for sure.
Missed you guys at the booth at Keto Con, but did buy the Savage shirt. Hope you guys had fun. Yeah, we were all over the place. Robert was gone 90% of the time, just like talking and communicating and watching and all that. And I was spending a lot of time taking care of Rigel, so we're so sorry that we missed you. But
all right, Joe, we got a boogie. Rigel's not having it anymore.
Yeah.
He was a trooper though. We've been 31 minutes in.
Yeah, he was a trooper.
All right, so love
we
y'all.
did miss some questions over here, so if you guys can just jump on next week, we will be back here Wednesday at 5 p.m.
All right, take care, y'all. Be safe. Love you. Glad to be back on the lives, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
Adios.